to continue this conversation now with another voice, Yishai Fleischer, the spokesperson from the Jewish community in Hebron. And Yishai, you heard from Mark Zell there. He said that this move was bad timing, but for proponents of Israeli sovereignty over the West Bank, is it worth offending U.S. officials and losing U.S. support by actually moving forward with a bill like this?
Yeah, I was a little surprised at J.D. Vance's tone and his choice of words. I would have said to him, this was not meant to offend you. This was not meant to really, it's not in conversation with you. The Jewish people have yearned to be sovereign in Judea and Samaria for a long time. We had a very tough war now. We want to come out with some victories from this war. We want to see more control. We want to push back on jihadism. We want to be sovereign in our land because of our history, because of our rights under international law, which actually the previous Trump administration recognized. So we're moving forward with that. And our Knesset, which is our democratically elected body, our parliament, took a step. It was really not, it was not timed to be in lockstep with the J.D. Vance visit. It had nothing to do with him. It had something to do with a will of a lot of people in Israel to be sovereign in Judea and Samaria. And it happened to be in his timing. And I was a little bit, I thought it was a kind of strange that he would say that it was personally offensive and that he would say it was stupid. I don't think that was their good choice of wordage. I don't think that was good language to use when dealing with a large swath of the Israeli public, which actually does want to see sovereignty in Judea and Samaria.
Now, Yishai, before taking off for Israel, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he said that annexing the West Bank, it could be threatening to the peace deal. That not only includes the current Gaza ceasefire, but also an eye towards the future, expanding the Abraham Accords. Well, here's what Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich said today about future ties with Saudi Arabia if it comes at the cost of a two-state solution. Let's take a listen.
If Saudi Arabia tells us normalization in exchange for a Palestinian state, then friends, no thanks. Keep riding camels on the sand in the desert of Saudi Arabia.
Now, after quite a bit of backlash, he then walked back those statements and issued an apology. But is this about derailing normalization, or is this truly about maintaining sovereignty or getting sovereignty over the West Bank?
Yeah, we see another example of needing to be careful with language. I think that the camel remark was unnecessary, but the idea that we don't need to give up half of our tiny little land to jihadism, which is exactly what happened in Gaza in 2005, and that's a bad idea, that's bad policy, and that actually normalization with Saudi Arabia comes on the heels of Israeli strength, of Israeli fighting the jihadism. That's what Saudi Arabia would like to see partnering with. They want to see our strength against Iran. They want to see our strength against the Muslim Brotherhood. And so I don't think that it's an either or binary choice. I think actually the choice is yes to both. Yes to sovereignty in our ancestral homeland, which protects Jerusalem and the rest of the country. And yes to normalization with regional partners who want to be strong and prosperous. Israel will help you be strong and prosperous, but we have to be strong and prosperous on our land as well. So that's the way forward. And I think that we all have to use language that honors and respects our neighbors and our allies and other democratic countries. But I do want to say one more thing. This idea that this might derail the peace deal, for God's sakes, what are we talking about here? We're talking about our enemies, Qatar and Turkey, having control in Gaza. That is not the victory that we were promised. We were promised no jihadism, not an Erdogan who just the other day said that he wants to see the destruction of Israel, not Qatar, who's a financier of Hamas. Like, can somebody out here say the emperor is not wearing any clothing? This is not a peace deal. This is jihadism, and even today it's been reported on I-24 in Hebrew that Hamas is probably going to stay in power. This is not victory. This is not a peace deal. This is an appeasement deal, and there's nothing so great about this deal. We're going to end up just kicking the can down the road and fighting again on October 7th in another year or two, or kicking it to our children to fight this war again. So do me a favor, and let's not talk about derailing this great peace achievement. This is not a great peace achievement. Jihadism is continually in control of Gaza after 2 years of fighting.
All right, Yishai Fleischer, spokesperson for the Jewish community in Hebron. Thank you for being with us on I-24 News
Thank
today.
you.